block away in Westlake Center, the iconic Starbucks also shut down, saying workers no longer felt safe in the area.
In this case, we see over 1.5 million lethal doses of fentanyl. That's enough fentanyl to kill everyone in Seattle twice.
Chris Johnson is the president of the Association of Washington Business and says a spring survey of members suggests more are now looking to relocate out of state, with 91% putting a pause on expansion because of state policy.
The movement of people, both individuals and their businesses, is real. It's happening.
Washington Policy Center's Ryan Frost says Starbucks lowered their tax burden by $12,000 per year for every employee in Nashville compared to Seattle. Frost also says Washington is on par to lose up to $750 million in tax revenue over 2 decades, assuming a 3% annual growth for the company in Tennessee.
Yet at the same time, there's a separate lawsuit that's actually challenging a piece of this bill that is really nefarious in its intent initially. Democrats decided to pass this as an emergency clause or a necessity clause, which meant we weren't able to put this up to a voter referendum. They did this despite the fact that the tax doesn't even go into effect for 2 years. They just did this because they knew it was unpopular.
The largest custom grinding camshaft country in the United States is leaving Tacoma, Washington, after 48 years. They are headed to Arizona. They have said crime, taxes, and the poor outlook for business due to the political climate. They are on the road. Going to cost them $100,000, but they think it's going to be worth it in the end to make that move. Let's get into it. Here we go. Because who doesn't like an oversized camshaft, right? You know, when you hear that glug, 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 camshaft, right? You got a little bit of the engine sound, but that cam, that's what makes that sound. You're like, that's cool. I need one. I need terrible gas mileage, more horsepower. Stuff's cool. John Bodwell said his insurance went up 20% and his power bill nearly doubled in a single month. Oof. You hear about companies with their utilities just going through the roof. And down in Tacoma, I don't know if you've been to Tacoma lately. It got better there for a while. The residential got better, but the commercial, because you got a bunch of whacked out fentanyl addicts running around and it's Washington State and there's really no law enforcement. And if somebody does get arrested, they're right back out on the street, able to steal again for their fetty habit. The whole state of Washington's kind of subjected to the whole crime deal. And these businesses, especially manufacturing companies, they've got stuff. They've got stuff in their shop that people are willing to break into and grab. There's always stuff. There's tools, you got metals, you got whatever. Restaurants, mini marts, they've got the copper wiring for the refrigerant systems themselves, crackhead takes. So moving to Arizona, there's one fact in here that I found really interesting, and I'm like, I'm still trying to work it through. How's this guy going to do this? Washington manufacturer is leaving the state after nearly 5 decades, rising crime taxes, and a worsening political climate. He's just one of many businesses that have said, no mas, no mas. That was a great fight. Did you guys watch the Sean Strickland fight? Whew, good Lord. That guy takes a pounding and just gives it right back out. We've got, who else do we have? UFC. We got some other good fights coming up. John Bodwell, whose family founded Delta Camshaft in 1977, said he's been forced to live inside his business because the cost of operating in Washington has become too high. Now, we hear of business owners in Seattle all the time living in their business because the crackheads, the fetty heads, steal their stuff in the middle of the night. So they got to be inside their business just fending off these criminals because don't have enough police, don't have the political will to put the whack jobs in jail because, that might be considered racist. And look at where we are. Look at where we are. Majority of it is the constant battle with the city over the graffiti and the crime stuff here. The constant massive tax increase. Everything is increasing. Well, you've got all these social welfare spending programs you got to spend money on, right? And when you've got businesses continually leaving, You got individuals leaving. You got millionaires. You got billionaires leaving. You got Howard Schultz. You got Jeff Bezos. You got Amazon shipping jobs. You've got Starbucks shipping jobs to Tennessee. And when the big boys are doing it, then that revenue shrinks. Going to have less, and the citizenship and businesses like this suffer because there aren't the tax dollars to go towards public safety. Plus, safety is just not really a thing in Washington State. Leadership in Washington State is kind of like, some crime. Nah, it's out of control. It's wildly out of control. Cost of power, cost of insurance, everything is increasing by large increments. It's not like 1 or 2%. It's like my insurance went up 20%, he said. Probably because he's had so many break-ins and he's had to call in a couple of them. And then, you're lucky to get insurance. My power bill is going up. Claim is supposed to be going up another 13%, but just last month it almost doubled. Ugh. Delta Camshaft manufacture and repairs camshafts, which control how an engine takes in air and fuel and expels exhaust. On its website, company says it's not closing, but that our plan is to relocate the business and continue to serve our customers for years to come. We're moving. Manufacturer company, moving. So this leads me to, when's Boeing going to leave? When is Boeing going to say, we're done? We're out. Is it going to be Boeing or is it going to be Costco that leaves first? Let me know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Because crime is running rampant, my insurance policy on the building is skyrocketed. Quite a substantial amount in the past 3 to 5 years. And then officers that I do speak with about the graffiti stuff like that say that it'll take them longer for them to write the report than it does if they arrest the person. Either which way, it's not good, right? Criminals basically have more protective rights than I do as the building owner. That's Washington State for you. This is what Democrats want. They want to push out business. Get it down to just a bunch of socialists. You can control that group a lot more than guys who remanufacture camshafts. I mean, this is a machine shop, right? This is a massive machine shop. According to the FBI crime report for 2024, released in August, Seattle was 4th worst out of the 30 largest American cities for total crime. That is awesome. That's great. We got a socialist for a mayor who's boycotting Starbucks. Starbucks leaves. Budwell said his move out of Washington State might cost him upwards of $100K. My first thought was that seems cheap. Yeah. All right, so this is Ari Hoffman, official. He covered this story as well. There's Delta Camshaft Incorporated. We've got fine examples of some numbnut up on top of the roof, doing a little graffiti, doing a little urban art. That stuff drives me crazy. I mean, this is in no way, shape, or form art. That's just somebody putting a paint can in their butt and just spewing onto a business wall. No respect for that. Take off that first finger. Take off their trigger finger. Let's go old school. Actions have consequences. So they have well over 1 million camshafts to hand pack into boxes for the move. Holy smoke. 1 million? How are you going to do that? A lot. It's 1 million. 1 million camshafts. That's just wild. So you're going to move 1 million camshaft. Hey, come to the park. Hang out at the park. Oh, there's actually a dude right here. This guy was almost kind of camouflaged in. These poor people are just allowed to, just basically kill themselves through drugs. Bodwell and Delta Camshaft are far from the oil ones planning to leave Washington. We got a Association of Washington Business, 44% of business leaders moving their personal residences out of the state. 91% of the businesses recently surveyed in Washington State said they are not investing in Washington State, their businesses in Washington State in the near future, not putting any more money in. All that money it takes to expand, not going into Washington State, because it's become such an anti-business environment. Companies like this can no longer make a go of it. Just can't do it. Can't do it. In March, Washington state Democrats passed the Millionaire tax. But that would, I mean, which Democrat Governor Bob Ferguson signed on March 30. Now, it's got to go through a whole bunch of stuff to get passed. But, you know, it's the pathway that we're on. Tax and spend, tax and spend. We need more progressive taxation. There's Andres Suarez with some poor guy shooting up meth. Not ideal. He was younger. Bodwell said he would try and run for office to turn things around. You know, I don't think there's any turning around of this nonsense. I really don't. I think this is where we're going. And I think this is, by and large, what the citizenry wants. And the end result will be a leveling of the playing field, and socialism will rule. I think that's what Democrats want. I mean, because that is what they're getting. It's what they're paying for. It's who they're voting into office. The last presidential election, Washington state just went even more blue. They just doubled down because, you know, these policies are working so great. We have business after business after business, just boop, out of here. Business is moving in because who in the world is going to, you know, pencil up all the numbers and go, yeah, Washington state's where I'm headed. You know, one of my earlier podcasts today was a bunch of the socialist employees of Starbucks are refusing to move to Nashville, Tennessee because, they might have some red policies there. Red state, blue-ish, probably a purple city. I mean, they call Nashville red, but it's got a liberal component to it, right? I mean, any of the big cities do. So it's kind of a purplish version of a red, bigger city. It's a big, small city, right? See what Ari Hoffman has to say. Yeah, they're moving out after 48 years in Washington. Just, I mean, you know, this guy is what, 58, I think he is, 57, 58. He's my age. And he's like, man, I can't make a go of it here. I cannot do this anymore. And you know what? If I had to deal with break-ins, I'm in Washington State, but I'm in Bellevue, and we don't have break-ins like that here. I mean, it's very rare because we didn't defund our police, and we've got some moderate Democrats for now. That's my fear is moving forward. Oh, what's going to happen? You don't know. And, you know, I'm moving to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's got some, you know, crime issues as well. They just had a 20-person shooting, but it was actually a 18th Street gang out of LA affiliate. And some girls started arguing over their boyfriends, and their boyfriends apparently were in gangs, and they had guns, and they shot up a bunch of people. They didn't shoot it. They shot each other. 20 people injured, one person killed. It's not like Oklahoma City doesn't have crime. But you don't have crime on businesses like you're seeing here. That's just this continual assault. Continual assault. Delta Camshaft in Tacoma, largest custom camshaft regrinding company, 48 years. I've decided I can no longer compete with the political doom that's come through town. The building is currently on the market. I am hearing Tacoma is, business-wise, small commercial buildings, small industrial like this, bunch of stuff on the market because people are leaving. Building is currently on the market. I set my sights in Mesa, Arizona. Crime, graffiti, taxes, and fees got me on the run. Million camshafts to hand pack into boxes. Man, what a move. Million camshafts and it's only going to cost them 100. I mean, that seems cheap to me, but you know, he knows his business. I'm not going to question him. I'm just, you know, a dude that's probably touched a camshaft a couple of times. You know what I mean? Like, hey, 1 million camshafts to hand pack into boxes for the move, then unload at the new facility, and 4 machines that weigh around 7 tons each. I mean, just getting those 4 machines that are at 7 tons each down there. I mean, that's what, a few per truck? How many is that? I mean, I don't know how big they are, but 7 tons a pop. I mean, that's machine shop, right? Just some big, big, heavy stuff. I'm trying to get rid of all my big, heavy stuff so I don't have to move it. Just buy new crappy stuff when I relocate. So the move alone cost over $100K. And he ends it with, sadly, worth every penny. Every penny. So, we hear a lot about the Starbucks and we hear a lot about the Amazons and the Microsofts laying off people, moving divisions here, moving divisions there. But it's bread and butter like Delta Camshaft Incorporated that is going to have the biggest impact, because those are people and their employees are out of here. Their tax revenue is out of here. And it's more so, it's the bread and butter of society that is leaving. And that's when you have that economic pullback, combined with the big cities, with the big city, big business doing the same thing, doing their big, exodus, where it's really going to have an impact. And I'll podcast each one of those impacts.